Hi there, mums and dads and teachers and grandparents and nannies and au pairs and anyone else who's listening today. Welcome to another session of Rachie OT Mum. Today I'm going to speak about pencil grips, and I know that a lot of your children aren't yet writing, but it is something to bear in mind. Because I think that there's a lot of misinformation about pencil grips and how a correct pencil grip is achieved. So I thought I'd share a bit about that and let you know sort of what the evidence says. So actually the other day I went to the stationery store and I was stocking up on some pencils and some supplies. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw this lady and she was kind of looking at the pencil grips. Now, I don't know if you've come across pencil grips or know pencil grips, but they come in sort of a range of different things. You can see here's a triangular one. Your pencil just sort of slots in there, and it's meant to prompt the child to hold the pencil in that dynamic tripod grasp. You can get cute little ones with animals and molded ones and just sort of a range of them. And anyway, this lady was looking, and I kind of went over to her and I said, you know what you're looking for? And she said, well, I have my 6-year-old daughter's really not holding it. She's just not getting this pencil grip properly. She's not holding it properly, and I don't know what to do. So I thought maybe I'll get her something like this. So I said, well, do you want to hear a little bit about it? And she was very kind and lovely, and she said, yes, tell me. So I shared with her. But basically, pencil grips do have a place in that they can work as a prompt, but our hands are all different. Now, the ideal, what we consider the ideal pencil grip is something called a dynamic tripod grasp. And that is, with a dynamic tripod grasp, it's with your thumb, your index, and your middle finger doing the movement, and then you've got the radial side of your hand, so your pinky and your ring finger are doing the supporting. And when these three fingers are placed on the pencil sits between your thumb and your index finger with your middle finger behind supporting. And you can see there I've got a great base of support that can slide along the page, and I am able to get lots of small little movements for control with these three fingers. Now, children are still developing, some children are still developing their pencil grasp at 10.5 years old. So there's a sort of natural progression of grasp that starts with that raking grasp as a baby, that whole-handed grasp, then moving towards what we call the ulnar side of your hand, as the child starts to then do more sort of precision grasps, keyhole grasps, that pincer grip, and that sort of starts developing. And when the two sides of your hand when we're able to split the movement in the two sides of your hand, that's when we start developing this lovely palmar arch across here. We've also got a palmar arch going this way, that comes also with that raking grasp. So there's a lot of hand development going on. So although you might think that pencil grips are only school-going age, it actually starts way back, really in the baby phase. But what I was saying was there is a place for pencil grips, the grip that you put onto your pencil, because it can work as a prompt. However, our hands are all different. Some of us have got really sort of bendy fingers that bend right the way back. Other of us don't. Some of us have really long fingers and some of us don't. And so when you grasp something, you hold it in the way that is most efficient for you. So sometimes children have a different grasp. A very common one is what we term the thumb wrap grasp. Some children have a 4-point grasp, but they have 4 fingers on the pencil. And now the reason that you hold your pencil differently to that dynamic tripod grasp is because for your hand and the strength and the endurance that your hand has at this point, that is the most efficient way of holding it. So you can put a pencil grip on and get the child to hold it in the dynamic tripod grasp. But in a way, you're then putting the cart before the horse, because you're asking them to use a grasp that their hand is not most efficient at. So the best thing you can do if your child is struggling to develop a good pencil grip is to go back to all the hand strengthening things. If the hand is strengthened and is strong and you've developed those palmar arches, and you're able to dissociate both sides of the hand, then the child will use the hand grip that is most efficient for them and which they will have the most endurance for. And it is possible that that will not be that dynamic tripod grasp. So it's not about getting stuck on the idea of this perfect grasp. It's about making sure the child's hand is strong enough to give them good control, to give them dissociation of both parts of the hand, and to give them endurance, because as they get older, they're going to need to write for longer and longer. So where does hand strength come from? Well, it starts, as I said, right in the beginning when they are babies. And the first thing is tummy time. So if you've got a little one, here's another reason to be doing that tummy time. As children weight bear into their hands, they start developing that hand strength, and that starts shaping their hands. The grasp in the very early stages, it's a very full-handed grasp as they reach for things. Then it starts moving towards this aspect of their hand as they pick up. And then, as I said, those precision grasps. So where do we start with hand strengthening? We start with weight bearing. We start with the big power grasps, our pulling on monkey bars, our wheelbarrows on the floor, things like Play-Doh, resistive putty, finding small objects and really using the strength of our hands, tug of war, cutting skills, and scissor skills. I've done a video on that, and I recommend you go and watch it if you want to get your child really developing hand strength, but cutting all different things, cutting cardboard, cutting polystyrene, cutting fabric, and cutting is great because, again, we're dissociating, we're using the supporting part of our hand and the movement part of our hands. It's a great pre-pencil grip activity. So don't worry too much about that grip on the pencil. Worry more about and focus more on really getting your child's hand as strong as possible. And their whole upper limb, in fact, shoulder, elbow, wrist, their whole upper limb as strong as possible. And that's your best chance of getting the most functional pencil grip for your child, that they have the most endurance with and the most control with. So if you have a young one, start now, and if you are at the stage of handwriting already, well, go back to those early things and redo those early things if you're wondering about what you can do to support your child best. Anyway, I hope that was useful. Keep in touch. I'd love to hear how this goes, and we'll see you again next week.